Hi there, parents. We are going to get going in just one more minute in case anyone else is ready to come through. This is for all parents. We're going to talk a little bit about what life is like at Garrard at the moment and just tell you a bit about our new normal. Normally, we would have been able to have you in at some point before now, but as we haven't had anyone in, we thought it'd be a good idea just to touch base with you, give you a chance to meet some of the team, see what we're up to at school, and if you have any questions at the end, you can then let us know. You can either write those into the chat if you'd like, or if you want to, then unmute yourself at the end. You'll be given the opportunity to do that, and you can then share your questions with us then. But I think we'll get ourselves started. I'm sorry, I can see a few people saying they can't hear. The key thing there is to help with audio, so I'm just going across there. So hopefully you'll get across there. Right, let's get ourselves going. So our new normal. What is it like here at Harris Garrard at the moment? COVID has led to some changes in our school. One of them being that we're meeting like this virtually, but lots of the things that go on at school are exactly the same. And without the chance to have you in to see some of those, to meet the teachers, to see what the lessons are like, we wanted just to share some of the things that we're doing at school to make sure that you can get an idea of what's happening in school with the children. So as part of this presentation, I will be...
Sorry.
So I've got someone clicking on it. How we are keeping the students safe, what school looks like at the moment and what they're doing at school to help support, our priorities for the children in our classes, and finally, what's coming up and how you can become involved. So let's start with what we are doing, how we're keeping the children safe. So the first thing we're doing is we've got our staggered start. So as you were aware, we've tried to make this a little bit easier for you. The reason we have a staggered start is to make sure that the children are able to come in at different times in the day to make sure we don't have crowding both in our playground and in the corridors. Now, I know that can be a challenge if you're dropping off children that are, say, in EYFS and in Year 4, and we really apologise for that. We're trying to get that balance at all times between being COVID safe and being able to give the best education we possibly can. And at the moment, with what's going on outside in the world around us and in London at the moment, we're trying to make sure that we're keeping children safe both on release at the end of the day, dismissal, and also on arrival. As you can see, we also have very different staggered break times and lunch times, so none of the children are out in the same area at the same time, which of course then means that children aren't able to mingle with different bubbles and they're able to keep themselves safe. I just mentioned the word bubble, and our next one is the class bubbles. So keeping our class bubbles safe is a really important part of what we're doing. The idea here is that every class is like a household, that in that bubble, the class teacher, the TA, and the children are able to share resources, sit sensibly in their seats, try and keep a bit of distance between themselves, but also that they're safe within that bubble. We try as much as possible to not have other staff or other children come into those bubbles. The only time that that does happen is in our read, write, ink lessons for Key Stage 1 in the morning. The reason for that being is that read, write, ink is such an important part of our school day that it's important we go into small groups so we can focus the phonics learning in those different areas. And that's why that's the one time of the day we do have different adults in different places and different children across the different bubbles. What we try and make sure we also do is that we wipe down the surfaces a lot more during the day. So if they're going into the library, if they're going into the ICT suite, that those are being wiped down after use to keep children safe, that when they're coming and using the same space, that shared space is still being kept safe. The next thing that we are doing is our lineups and dismissals, making sure that when they're coming through, they're washing their hands at our basins. We've got some movable ones for Year 3 and 4, and we've got our stationary ones for Year 5 and 6. And you can see they're lining up outside in the glorious sunshine we had back in September. We're trying to even then distance the children out, especially to make sure they're coming in safely and they're remembering the importance of keeping their distance from each other as they come through the school building. What else we are doing is we are thinking about our dining room and our staff meetings. So in our dining room and also our sports hall, we're making sure that when we are coming together, we are separating out. As you can see in the picture there in our dining room, each class has their own set of tables. What that then therefore means is that the children are able to keep and have that distanced time, but also eat safely. When we're meeting as a staff, of course, we need to meet, we need to chat. Some of that's being done virtually, but as you can see here, we also spread ourselves out into larger spaces to make sure that even though we are in our class bubbles, we can still come and discuss and plan and prepare. Next on our list is virtual meetings. So this is what you've had so far, a glorious picture of Mr. Butcher and Miss Lee there from their Year 2 conversation they had with you back at the start there with the Meet the Teachers. We will be having parents' evenings coming up across in a few weeks' time, and that again will be done virtually. So well done if you're able to log on to this and get through this system. We'll be setting up more of these to make sure that you're able to touch base with the teachers, see how the learning's gone in class, because I know that we've kind of tried to stop that happening at the gate. I apologise that at the gate, we're not really allowing teachers to come and have conversations with parents. We understand that can be frustrating if you have something you want to share. The best thing I can say is if you either email info@harrisgarrard.org.uk, or if you call the school, we can make sure that we can set up phone conversation between you and the teacher to make sure that if there is something coming up, that you can communicate that way, as it keeps you and our staff as safe as possible. So, what else is going on at Chobham? Well, what school looks like at the moment, there are some new things we're doing at the moment that have got nothing to do with COVID, but we're really excited about. The first one is our library. Your children might have been coming home and talking about our brand new library with zones and giant octopuses and enchanted trees. This is a new space that we're using within the school to make sure the children have got time to really focus on their reading. So our library is what you might have heard the children talking about, and I'll talk a little bit about AR in a moment, our accelerated reader program that I'm sure you're aware of at the moment. So children bringing home more books, and they might have bookmarks with them with certain things like book levels and ZPD scores that might seem a little bit strange to you at the moment, but we'll talk about those in a moment. The other you might have heard of is our hub points. So all the children, when they join our school, they join one of our hubs, either World Studies, Active Science, Enterprise, or Creative Voice. And throughout the day, they can earn hub points where they get a special token for wonderful behavior, excellent learning, and they can take those outside of the playground and put them into the special boxes. We then count those up at the end of every half term. The winning hub gets a special treat. So this half term, there's a special treat coming up on the last Friday, which I'll mention at the end of this. And the idea is a celebration for all of that hub to come together and receive some sort of celebration. What else is going on? Well, at the moment, we're trying to carry on as much as normal, and for your children in their classrooms, they probably won't notice any real difference between what they would have like in a normal classroom and what they're having now. Lessons, as you can see, are carrying on as normal. We always have our children in rows. They're always able to focus on the teacher, the presenter. You can see here some wonderful forest school going on for our year ones. We're trying to make sure that whatever we're doing in school, we're still keeping to the curriculum. We're still teaching every single subject, and we're making sure that they're prioritised exactly as we would as if we weren't going through COVID. So as I talked about earlier, that idea of that balance between keeping the children safe for COVID and education and making sure they're getting what they would have got no matter where we were and what we were doing is still our priority. And at the moment, I'm really pleased to say that lessons are going along pretty much unhindered. And through our staggered starts, staggered ends, and staggered class times, we're able to do these things appropriately inside of school. So our priorities for the children in our classes. As the children have come back, there are two key things that we're working on with the children in school. There are lots of things that we're trying to work on the learning, but the two key things to make sure that you're aware of at home that we're really pushing at the moment is reading and computer literacy. So with reading, you might have seen that we've got this accelerated reader program going on at the moment. Now, Miss Woods is going to talk to you more about this in another meeting that you can join in a few days or weeks' time. The idea being that she will chat you through how we use accelerated reader, what we do with accelerated reader, and why it's a useful system. I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview. The idea is that we've tested the children for their a reading age. And from that reading age, we have then created some different books. They can choose different books that are appropriate for their reading level. They take these home, and over a week, they read them. They come in and they do a short quiz to show that they've read and engaged with the book. We find this is a really good way of getting competition going and engaging the children with their reading. And already we've got lots of people involved in reading across the school, and some children are taking home fantastically huge and long books that they're reading on the playground or they're reading outside of school on their way home. And it's really pushing the idea that we need to get back into good reading habits after being out of school for such a long break. The other thing we're working on is computer literacy. Now we've got here Purple Mash. You might have heard Purple Mash being talked about at home. Purple Mash is how we teach the children about coding and being computer literate. Now Purple Mash they can also access from home. So if you type into Google Purple Mash, you can find the homepage for the logins. If you go to the Harris Garrard Purple Mash login, the children do know their usernames and their passwords, and they can access this from home. Now, At the moment, we're really happy that we've got our children in school, but we never know what might happen. We might have to close a class. We might have to close the whole school if we go into a further lockdown. We don't want that to happen. We want the children in school. But preparing for those sorts of things is what we want to make sure that we're embedding into our everyday practice. So through computer literacy, we're hoping that the children will become more confident accessing learning through Purple Mash and while at home. Because if they're able to do those things, and if they're able to access those things from home, it means they're able to interact with their class teacher in much better ways. Now, at the moment, just to talk about what that might happen in terms of classes and lockdowns, the system we have at the moment is as follows. If your child has symptoms, they are to go home immediately, and then we will be providing work for that child while they're at home. That will be some hard copies of work like we did for the previous lockdown, but also opportunities to call and communicate with the school, their class teacher, to make sure they're not missing out on anything. If we had to close a bubble and we had to close a classroom, we would then go to more virtual learning, where every day we would put on, like this, conversations the teacher could have with the children to share the learning that they'd be missing from school, and doing more of that inside of the virtual environment. So for that to happen, we need the children to become more computer literate, to be able to get onto the websites, to use Purple Mash, and to be able to remember their logins so that they can go onto office.com and then use their @hfed.net usernames to log on to Word and also their Teams meetings. Now, Teams is a little bit like Zoom, like this. It's a video conferencing tool, and we'll be doing some more training with you later on to show you how the children can use that to log on and have conversations like we're having now. So next on our list. Another priority we have at the moment is that we're looking to change our classes. Now, I know that Miss Perry talked about this, and we're looking to say that we can change our classes from this, and you can see the kind of Dali and Haring, to this. We really want our classes to better represent the children that we teach. And instead of it being lots of white middle-class men, to have a much better range of different people that they can see and they can see themselves in, will hopefully show the value we're putting into inclusion. So you might find that when they come back from half term, their names of their classes have slightly changed and they've voted for someone else that they think would be a better role model. So we'll get to know about this later on. So what's coming up and how can you be involved? So as I said, there will be an AR in Focus meeting. We'll get to learn a little bit more about Accelerate Reader, ask some key questions about how it's going at home, and also find out a little bit how you can get involved. At some points, we'll hopefully be able to send you an email which will let you know how your child is doing with their reading and how they're getting on with those quizzes. So hopefully at some point during the next few weeks, you'll have the opportunity to meet with Miss Woods, who is our literacy lead and vice principal, and she'll be able to talk you through how we use Accelerated Reader. We've also got our hub celebration, as I talked about. This is coming up on Friday next week. Now, I don't want to give away which hub is in the lead at the moment, but as you can see from the slide there, Creative Voice had found a slight lead. What will happen on that Friday is in the afternoon, all the children in that hub are going to have a cinema day. Now, they will be socially distanced in Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 and DYFS, and they'll have the opportunity to celebrate their hub points, and as a group with all the teachers that are in their hub, and this will hopefully help push behaviour so that other children are thinking, I want my hub to do better. I want my hub to go across for the next celebration day. And next half term, there'll be another opportunity for those children who have won in terms of their hub points to be celebrated. If they have individual children that aren't in that winning hub that have done incredibly well, we're also working to make sure that they feel like they're doing well and they're able to get some sort of reward. At the moment, we had our bronze stars that you might remember from last year. We can award when children have received up to 100 hub points. We'll still be rolling those out so that everyone feels included in that particular idea. And last on our list is our relationship and sex education consultation. As you may be aware, we are moving in terms of our curriculum in PSHE to include more relationship and sex education as part of the generic everyday training within PSHE. Now, before this happens, it's really important that we get your feedback and your information on it. So there'll be a parent consultation meeting like this, where we'll share some ideas about what we'd like to do with the children, and we'll get your feedback on what you think would be appropriate at different times and when they would be. So we get your voice involved. So that will be coming up, and you'll get another invitation to that meeting further along at a different time. Now, that is all from me. I can see that the chat has been growing, and thank you to Miss Perry and Miss Woods who've been answering some of your questions. If you do have a question, I'm just going to have a little look through them now, and I might then respond and answer some of those as I see them. So If I look down through, if I start at the bottom and work my way up, did Harris always have a 2-week half term in October, or is it related to COVID? No, we have always had. Yes, so last year, it's a lucky thing that we get across here. Because of the way we run our school day, we are able to have a 2-week half term break. Now, in the past, that meant that you would have lovely opportunities to go abroad, slightly cheaper than you would if you were going in the normal half term. But this is not because of COVID. We've done this every year since we took over across here. So that is that one there. Let's go across and see if there's any more questions I can see on there. No more coming through. I've got some questions about secondary. I'm sorry if you're secondary related and this is a little bit primary. When is after school clubs due to start? Great question there. We are looking to see how we can do more after school clubs. At the moment, we do have our wraparound care. So if you require extra support in the mornings or in the afternoons, that is up and running. So you can talk to the staff at the office to help that support that. We're looking to see how we can use RTAs within our bubbles to create bubble-related clubs. So it might be that we're able to open up clubs for a class or a year group that are distanced to make sure that there are some opportunities for them to involve themselves in cooking or handwriting or homework clubs that we've used previously. So I'm sorry that we haven't been able to do that yet. We haven't found a safe way to do that without merging or mixing groups, but it is on our radar as something to come across with. My daughter's home to have the quarantine. How will I get work sent for her? That's a fantastic question. If you call the office, if they're quarantining, if they've had a positive COVID reply with that, if you could talk to our office, they will be able to send you out as a pack to your home, to your address, the work for her while she's off on and she's isolating. So if you please call the office, we'll get that for you there. Could you please include meeting titles and topics in the invitation so people know what the meeting's about? I'm sorry that didn't happen on the text messages. I will try and endeavour to make sure I give you a little bit of information about what these will be about when you get those text messages. That's a great part there. You can leave this meeting if you're in secondary. Of course you can. Sorry that you've come across this primary one there. That's absolutely fine. Any other questions? No. Thank you for coming across. Can written information be regarding to read online? Yes, you will get more of that. You will get more information on what reading looks like. Also, this PowerPoint and what I've been speaking about, we record and go on our website. So if there's anything you missed and you want to look back at, you can go onto our website and find this and the other Meet the Teacher presentations. When we do our AR one, that will also be recorded and that will also go on there as well. Leaving after school is not working. I'm really sorry if that's how you're feeling at the moment. We are still looking for the best possible system. We were thinking about possibly inviting children, parents onto the playground, but we feel that we're then just moving the problem into the school as opposed to where it is outside. I feel it is getting calmer, and with the staggered end, it is getting a little bit clearer out there, and parents are separating out better than they were. I'm sorry it's not perfect. I don't know if we are going to find a perfect situation out there at the moment, but I do appreciate the feedback, and if you do have an idea that you think might work better, do let us know. We've tried to move away from being too staggered because we had some parents that are waiting out there for over 45 minutes, and that's why we have pushed the end of the school day to a slightly smaller staggered end, just because it means that there's more people that are able to move off quicker.
One by one.
So the one-to-one meetings for parents' evening will be, I think, after the half term, probably in week 2 or week 3 when we return. There'll be emails that go out with times we'd like you to come into one of the Zoom chats with the teacher. If you can't meet those, there'll be other opportunities for you to do that later on. The school email address, I can see that again there. So it's info@harrisgarrard.org.uk. If you put on there who you'd like it to be addressed to, primary, either myself, Miss Woods, Miss Perry, we'll then be able to get that sent to us and we'll then be able to refer to you back from then. Purple Mash is for all year groups, so from year 1 all the way up to year 6, they should be able to access from home. At school, we have little cards with their usernames and logins. The usernames are normally their name with their first name, a full stop, and then their last name, and then there's a 4-digit code they have to remember. So you could ask for that from there.
Regarding reading books for year 1, is it 1 book a week?
It's in terms of reading, it's not just one, it doesn't have to be one book. They can take more than one. What we're working on at the moment is just getting up their stamina for reading. So if they want to take 2 short books, they could take 2 short books. If they want to take 1 long book, they could take 1 long book. Often depending on their reading age and what they're working at, the books, obviously, as they get the reading age get larger, the books often get longer as well. So for some of this, their lower reading ages, you might find they want to take 2 or even 3 books would be fantastic, and then they can do their quiz when they come back. And the key thing then is just making sure that they are successful in those as well.
Something asking about primary only. openly, no, that's fine.
I don't have this information, and my son is year 1. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what information you're regarding. If it's the Purple Mash, his login Purple Mash, I see. So if you talk to the science teacher, we can maybe get that sent home, because that'd be a great way for you to be able to log in from home. I'll try and see if I can get that as part of an email that can go home to parents to let you know what their login is for Purple Mash and how we expect that to happen, because it'd be really great if they could start accessing that from home, start playing with some of the things that are in there, and for you to get confident with some of the features going on there as well. What I will do as well is I will have a separate meeting that is just all about competing and accessing Purple Mash from home, just so you're aware of how we use that and what Teams also looks like as well for this. You're very welcome. That's why I wanted to have this meeting. Any last questions? If you feel like you've heard everything you needed to hear, it's absolutely fine if you want to step out of the meeting now. That's absolutely fine. If you still have a question and you want to stay behind, that's absolutely fine too. I'm not going anywhere for another 10 minutes. So if you have got another question, feel free to stay. If you'd like to leave, thank you so much for coming along to this. Do give us some feedback on how it went, whether you think this is a useful thing for us, a useful vision of what was going on. And if you have any more questions about what you'd like to see in the future, let us know that too. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I can see some people are leaving. So if you do have a question that you want to just wait to the end, that's absolutely fine. Or let people start clearing through. You're welcome. Thank you, Toby's mum. That's super. Yes, so trousers are going on the last thing of the day. So if they had PE last thing in the day, I think we're tasking them to have tracksuit bottoms. So if they're coming in with the right things there, that would be fantastic too. So making sure they're wearing tracksuit bottoms, that means they'll always leave in trousers. But if we spot a child that's leaving and they're having to wait a little bit outside and they're only wearing their shorts, I'm always on the gate, so I'll try and endeavour to make sure that we get their trousers back on at the end there as well. Oh, thank you, Holly's mum. I appreciate that and your feedback from earlier about the gates. We will have a look at it, and if we can find a better way, we will. Oh, I'm really sorry to say that you haven't been able to join. I can't believe we had over 100 people. That's fantastic news, but I'm really sorry. What I will then try and do, if you miss this meeting, it is recorded and it will be on the website, so you will be able to have another look and look through the information that we saw there. I'm so sorry. I've never had 100 people done a meeting before, so I didn't know that we had a limit. So I'm so sorry that you've missed on that. As I said, the messages will be recorded. It will go onto the website, so if you've missed anything there, that's fine. Also, if you'd like to give me a call and I can talk you through what we talked about, I'm happy to do that one-to-one. So if you contact the school, it could be that we have a one-to-one phone conversation at a later date. The Purple Mash login, he should be able to log in by himself. So at home, if you Google Purple Mash and the Garrard login, and we'll do another meeting on this another time, but there'll be a login page, and they're doing this at school. So when they come into their ICT lessons, they go up into the computing room and they log themselves on. A few people saying they can't hear anything. I'm so sorry about that. That will be to do with the audio on there. But this is recorded, so you will be able to access it again later. Homework. So we're looking at the way we're giving homework. Because of course, children taking things home, bringing it back in is another opportunity for things in terms of COVID to not be particularly good. So what we're looking at there is how we can make sure that things are going home that are age appropriate, that are going to help support. At the moment, our key thing is getting the children into school, getting them that stamina flowing back up, and getting our normal day back into them. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you to say. After school clubs are starting. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier. What we talked about after school clubs is we're looking at how we can run them in their bubbles. So the TA that runs in that class might be able to set up something just for that class. Unfortunately, we can't have children from different bubbles come together in an after school club, which is what we've done historically. So we're going to look at how we can do that better and see what we can do in the new half term to see if there are some opportunities to do after school clubs. There is the after school care, so if you do need wraparound care, that is running at the moment, and we'll look at how we can do that. Reception students have Purple Mash. I think Ms. Perry said that they do have Purple Mash logins. We don't normally do computing with the UFS students where they go up to the ICT suite, but I will come across for that and see what I can do. Unable to talk for the first 10 minutes. Said, yes, I'm so sorry that you've not been able to come through. Your son is quarantining at the moment. If it's secondary, talk to secondary. If it's primary, we're talking here mainly about primary. But what we'll do is this will be recorded and it'll be on the website. You can see what's going on here. I'm sorry, I didn't realise that if you had 100 people, it closed it at 100 people. It was fantastic that we had that many. But if you'd like to contact the school, I can always have a one-to-one phone conversation with you and I can let you know what we missed. homework online for the children. That's a lovely idea. I think through Purple Mash, we could be setting homework on there, so that's a really nice idea.
Yeah, year one does have a Purple Mash.
Currently covering, I saw that question there about information what they're currently covering. If you go onto the Harris Garrard website and you go into primary, all of the knowledge organisers for every single year group are up there. So you can see on those knowledge organisers the key information that we're teaching the children in science, geography, history, art, DT. Everything we do is up on there at the moment, and that knowledge is what we're giving the children throughout the day. It's in their book, it's in their lessons. Are the students getting exercise books, math and English for homework at some point? So as I said earlier, we are looking at how we're doing homework. We're looking to see if we can find a safer system as opposed to things going home from one adult that are coming back in from one adult, so we don't have that touch situation in terms of COVID, but we're looking at how we can do that, and if we can use Purple Mash as an opportunity to set homework on Purple Mash, that might be something we can do in that case as well. Any more questions? You're welcome. Missed a lot, over 100. Yes, I saw that. I'm so sorry I haven't got in. You didn't manage to get in Rihanna's mum. I never knew that you'd only have 100 people in here. If mum, this is going to get recorded and it's going to go onto the website. So if you've missed something, you can always download and watch that from our Harris Garrard website. If you have any other questions, then it's absolutely fine to call the school, have a one-to-one phone conversation with me. How do people know about this meeting? I got the text 10 minutes after it started. So we sent out a text message both a couple of days ago and a text message 15 minutes before this meeting. I'm sorry if that didn't come through to you in time, 10 minutes after it started. I apologise for that. It started at 4:30, and the message was scheduled to go out at 4:15. So I'm sorry if that didn't quite get through to you in time. But as I said, if you'd like to have a conversation, you can always phone the school and have a conversation with them. Okay. Explain the relationship and sexual education consultation. Yes, so the DfE guidance is changing on when and how we deliver RSE training to the children. Previously, you were able to sign out from this, and it was done not often at the end of the school year. That is changing slightly, and the DfE guidance and the government guidance is changing on that. So we're going to share that with you in another meeting, and it's an opportunity for you to talk to us about what you think the needs would be and what you would like us to teach, and we'll then make that part of our parent consultation, and it informs our decision on what we do with them there. So that's how it will work with that. I've got 4 minutes before it stops recording, and I'm up with my time. Any more questions from there? I'm sorry, I've got some more people talking about year 7. This is a primary-based meeting. I'm so sorry if this went to all of secondary as well as primary. We're just looking here at primary and talking a little bit about us. Last question about parents meeting. So parents meetings are going to be happening in week 3. They will be virtual, and we'll be setting up a situation where you can put in a time that you'd like the children to come in for, like to have that meeting virtually, and then it will be very similar to this, one-to-one with the teacher. Mathletics, that's a really nice suggestion. I will put that to our maths team. Yeah, mathletics might be something we can come across with and use again. That's a really nice idea there. Thank you. You're very welcome. Right, I think I am going to have to leave it there. If I did manage to get your question, or you have another question that's burning, do come and speak to us on the gate. Myself or Miss are always out there, or always give us a phone call and we can talk through it in a bit more detail. Thank you very much for coming, and hopefully we'll see you soon in a much more face-to-face scenario. Bye-bye.